We're listening to Vivaldi this week, and this is The Four Seasons. Our candle is lit, and that reminds us of what Jesus said. What did Jesus say? That's right. I am the light of the world. This is a picture of me and my grandpa. I am 3, nearly 4 in this picture. And this is a picture of my grandpa in 1943. Now, my grandpa was a corporal during the Second World War. I have a letter from the Ministry of Defence which has my grandpa's service history here. And he enlisted in the army at the beginning of the Second World War in 1939. He was transferred to the King's Own Royal Regiment in 1940, into the Royal Artillery in 1941, and then he was discharged in 1946, which was a year after the Second World War finished. He served in France. He was evacuated from Dunkirk. He served in Burma as well. And my grandpa is my hero. And as well as having his picture up in my living room, I also have his World War II service medals hung up in my living room too. Now, my grandpa didn't need to join the army. He was in a reserved occupation. He lived and worked on a farm, which meant that he didn't need to volunteer and join the army during the Second World War, but he chose to. He chose to fight and defend the freedom and for our country. My grandpa didn't want his medals. He actually refused them. It was my granny that wrote to the Ministry of Defence and asked to have the medals sent to her so that I could have them. And the poppies help us to remember everyone that has fought and has lost their life during war. And it all dates back to the First World War.
The Poppy Story. The First World War, or the Great War, started in 1914. The British Empire and their allies, France, Russia, Italy and America, fought a war against Germany, Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. Over 9 million people from all over the world joined the British Armed Forces and went to fight. The conditions were terrible and millions were killed or injured. In Scotland, everyone knew someone who had died. Those that did return home would never be the same again. One of the largest battles in the war took place around the town of Ypres in the Flanders region of Belgium. While serving in Flanders, a Canadian doctor called John McCrae noticed how bright red poppies grew wild in the war-torn landscape. Despite the devastation that surrounded him, he was inspired by the poppies that grew there to write the poem In Flanders Fields. His poem became very popular, and the bright red poppy would soon be adopted as a symbol to remember all those who had fought in the war. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch, be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow, in Flanders fields. The First World War ended at 11 o'clock in the morning on the 11th of November 1918. It was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The war had lasted over 4 years. The 11th of November every year is called Remembrance Day or Armistice Day. When the war ended, people started making paper poppies to sell. Poppies raised money to help the millions of sailors, soldiers and airmen who were coming home from the war. These people are called ex-servicemen and women or veterans. On Remembrance Day, people wear a poppy, and at 11 o'clock in the morning, the same time the war officially ended in 1918, there is a 2-minute silence. This is for the people to remember all the veterans who have served their country in any war, not just the First World War. Remembrance Day happens every year in countries around the world. Poppies look different in different countries. In England, Wales and Northern Ireland, the poppy has 2 petals and a leaf. In Scotland, the poppy has 4 petals and no leaf. They also make more than 15,000 wreaths and tens of thousands of wooden remembrance symbols. These include the Christian cross, Muslim crescent, Sikh khanda, Hindu om, Jewish Star of David, and a symbol for humanists, or those who are not religious.
Let's have a prayer. And if you'd like this prayer to be your prayer, it's Amen at the end, you're welcome to look at the candle flame, or you can put your hands and your eyes together. And if this prayer is not for you, then think about what you've listened to and learnt about poppies today. Dear God, thank you for the happy memories that we have. We are sorry that some people have sad memories. May we wear our poppies with love and remember them with love and respect. Amen. Well, that concludes our collective worship for today. Remember, work hard, be kind, look after yourselves. And I'm going to hand over to Pupil Parliament now. You can press stop or pause.